I'm sure you can relate when you have the means through the arts, whether that's music or dance or, whatever it might be, you're really able to show who you are inside. And so I really found my way through music.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Michael Franti here, and welcome to this week's special edition of the Stay Human podcast. Today's show is sponsored by an amazing brand, Pact. They make clothing that from the seed to when you wear it is just incredibly well-sourced. Organic, fair trade practices, and great labor practices. But most of all, they make clothes that look amazing and feel great where you wear them. And so check them out at wearpact.com, wearpact.com. My guest today, I'm very excited about because not only is he an incredible musician whose music I love, but he's also a friend for many, many years. And so he is the lead singer of a band that has followed their instincts since the release of their breakout record in 2007. Just 2 years later, they topped the Billboard Reggae Chart for the first of what would be 5 consecutive #1 records. And in 2017, they garnered a Grammy nomination for the Best Reggae Album. Their transcendent live performances have earned the group sellout headline shows everywhere from Red Rocks to the Greek Theater, along with festival slots at Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, ACL, Glastonbury, and so many more places around the world. Please welcome to the podcast, Eric Rachmany of Rebelution. How you doing, Eric?
Hey, what's up, Michael? Thanks for having me.
Man, it's great to have you. How does it feel to hear all those things that you've just done over the years? You kind of look back, you think, man, we've had 5 #1 records, we've played all over the world, sold out shows. Did you ever imagine that you'd be living this life when you were a kid?
It's pretty crazy. I grew up not wanting to be like the center of attention. So to be like the singer in a band that tours constantly and in front of a lot of people, that part's a trip. So I love it. I love doing what I do. And it's been 18 years now, just cruising along. And I'm sure you know it as well, Michael. You know what it's like to tour and play, countless shows every year. But I love what I do and just going to keep on going.
Was there ever any point when you say you never wanted to be the center of attention, but was it just because you were shy as a kid or because you maybe held secret dreams? Like, did you ever sit in front of the mirror and sing with a comb or something into the mirror? Like, maybe that could be me, but I'm just too shy to step out, or you just didn't have those aspirations?
Yeah, I think as a kid, I felt like I was going to be a musician somehow and that people would hear the music that was in my head.
Yeah.
But I never knew that I would be singing. And I definitely was a shy kid. I just, at some point I had to get past feeling judged for whatever creative juices I had or whatever song I was writing, and just do it and just get it out there. And at some point I said to myself, if it sounds good to me, then it's good enough to be out there, and started writing more original tunes. And I think it just started getting more comfortable, and people felt that.
Yeah. Tell me what your childhood was like. Where did you grow up, and what was your family like?
Yeah, so we have a lot in common. Just and we've talked about it over the years, but just growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household that was playing a lot of world music. My mom was into world dance. My dad was an Israeli folk dance teacher. I grew up with a lot of Middle Eastern music being played in my house. But my mom was in charge of the ethnic dance festival in San Francisco for many, many years.
Oh, wow.
And so she exposed me to a lot of music and dance groups, not just in the Bay Area, but international acts that would come in and perform. And, I'd be there watching a lot of these performances at the Palace of Fine Arts. And I think growing up in a household like that really exposed me to some cool music and to some cool culture.
Yeah.
And I think to this day, it really has an effect on the songs that I write. particularly like the Middle Eastern music I grew up listening to. I think that, Rebelution is very reggae influenced, but I think a lot of my vocal style really comes from that Middle Eastern music that I heard growing up.
That's cool. And your parents, were they immigrants to America, or?
My dad was. My mom's parents came from Iran,
Uh-huh.
and my dad also was born in Iran, and he grew up in Israel, and he immigrated, met my mom in the Bay Area through the folk dancing scene, and that's why they ended up staying in the Bay Area, and that's why I grew up there.
That's cool. And what was it like being, in a household of recent immigrants? I mean, maybe not totally first generation, but people who were coming to this country and had some of the struggles and experiences in your recent family history of being new.
Yeah, it's a very different experience than mine because they up and left what was their home to a brand new place. Faces look different, different community, and I really admire their courage to just pack up everything and go a pretty far distance to somewhere where they don't even speak the language.
Yeah.
To this day, I have so many questions about my grandmother's experience. She came through Ellis Island.
Wow.
Got the full immigration experience, and so
Statue of Liberty and everything.
Yeah, and it's amazing. My experience. I grew up in San Francisco. The first 18 years of my life was just in San Francisco, and then traveled to Santa Barbara for school, and then I was able to really see the rest of the country and understand that it's a different world out there once you start touring and seeing how diverse even just this country is.
Yeah. And San Francisco and the Bay Area is a unique place because it's very welcoming and accepting of difference, and to grow up there in the city it's a real melting pot of experiences, not just ethnicity, but also of, lifestyles. You walk down Haight Street and there's like hippies, punk rockers, skinheads, goth, and hip hop, like all on the same block,
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why it's such a good music scene in the San Francisco Bay Area is because of all that, because of that melting pot. You could find different types of music from one block to the next on every night.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get first started into music? Like as a kid, what was your first entry?
Well, we had a piano in the house, and as a young boy, I would always go to the piano, sit down, and I think my mom noticed I was starting to sound things out. And when I would come back to the piano, I was probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
And my older sister was taking piano lessons, and that's probably why I was into it as well. But I would keep on coming back, and I remember some of the melodies I would just come back and play over and over again. And so I think at a young age, my mom realized that I sort of had a knack for melody and just sounding things out. I had a good ear for melodies. So I started taking piano lessons all the way till 12 years old. And then I started playing guitar at the age of maybe 13.
Yeah. And so your parents were supportive. Your mom was really into the arts and they got you started at a young age. Were there other desires in your life? At any other point as a kid, did you think like, man, maybe I'm going to be like a soccer star or something like that? Or was it just always music was the thing that fed you?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Man, I was really into soccer growing up, and that was super fun. Similar to music, I would get like kind of nervous, like getting out there and playing, and then once you get out there and the adrenaline kicks in, you're like in your comfort zone, But I wasn't able to play college ball like you, but I definitely enjoyed playing soccer growing up as a little adolescent.
What was the hardest thing for you as an adolescent? Like we all go through stuff, just trying to figure out who we are. And, there's always cliques and there's always different groups. And, I was somebody who just never really felt like I fit in no matter what group I was in. And so I kind of like moved through a lot of groups. I was hanging out with jocks, music people, arts people. But I always found that, music was something for me internally, even though I really wasn't playing music. It was something that grounded me. What was it like for you? What was the struggles for you as a teenager?
Yeah, I think the struggle for me was similar to you, feeling like you fit in and feeling comfortable with who you are and not, I think at a lot of my adolescence and even into my teens, I was always feeling like, hey, do I fit in here? And constantly thinking about, do I fit in? Instead of just being yourself and being the unique person that you are and that, everybody is. And I think through music, I was really able to discover who I am and really showcase who I am through music. I'm sure you can relate too. It's a little difficult to just talk about who you are and say, yeah, I'm into this. But when you have the means through the arts, whether that's music or dance or, whatever it might be, you're really able to show who you are inside. And so I really found my way through music. But I didn't always do that as a kid. It took me a long time to even feel comfortable singing. I didn't sing in front of anybody until I was probably 19 or 20. And that's probably one reason why.
Do you remember that time? Is there like a first time when you're like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to like, and then you actually did it. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I was forced to. I wanted to study music at, Santa Barbara Community College, and I took a vocal class. I took a songwriting class that was awesome. And one of the first things they make you do is get in front of the class and sing a song. And that was really the first time I sang in front of people, and everybody was so supportive in that class and really just encouraged me to keep going.
And were you playing guitar and singing too?
Yeah. And I probably didn't speak very clearly and mumbled a lot and just kind of, singing underneath the guitar as much as possible. But over time, you start to be more comfortable with your creativity and ultimately more comfortable with who you are and as a musician and performer.
When you were in Santa Barbara, is that where you guys got started with the band?
Yeah, back in 2004, we all kind of met mostly through the community college music scene.
Yeah.
We were all either taking classes or all trying to go for that music major. And I remember meeting our bass player, Marley, in the Santa Barbara Community College music office. I was playing some Morgan Heritage on my computer because I was working at that music office in the evenings. And Marley, being from Mendocino County and going to Reggae on the River every single year, was walking by and he's like, hey, I know that song. And that's how we connected, was at that at the community college.
Hey, Stay Human podcast listeners. One of the things that I love most about this podcast is that I get to talk to people who are out there changing the world every single day. And so naturally, the products I not only love to use myself, but that I also love getting to share with you are out there doing the same thing, making a positive impact on our planet and on humanity. Pact puts their emphasis on putting people and the planet first by sourcing organic cotton, partnering with fair trade factories, and using 81% less water to make their clothes. And the best part? The stuff they're making is comfortable too. It looks cool. You feel great wearing it and you look good in it too. So join me in supporting a company whose leadership is out there doing their best to stay human by visiting wearpact.com. That's wearpact.com. And use my code, STAYHUMAN, all capital letters, for 20% off your first order. You're going to love it.
I just want to backtrack a little bit on that subject of Morgan Heritage. At what point did reggae become something in your life? Like what, or did you always listen to all kinds of music, or what point did you tap into reggae?
Yeah, I didn't really tap into reggae until 17 or 18, toward the end of high school. My sister was playing a lot of Black Uhuru and
Oh man,
Don Carlos,
oh
and
my god,
yeah, and
Sly and Robbie.
yeah. But it hit me all at once. I was listening to roots and dancehall all at once, and
Right.
at the time, it was really happening in the Bay Area too. There were a lot of shows at the Ashkenaz in Berkeley that I went to, and Slims in SF. I'm not even sure if Slims is around anymore, but DNA Lounge and yeah, there was a lot of great roots artists that were coming through, and so I got to see some of those shows. And once I saw reggae live, it really hit me. You know, a lot of the old reggae recordings are classic. They have that certain sound, but you don't fully appreciate it until you're like on that dance floor and you're listening to it live.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when you met Marley, did you immediately think, oh man, let's get together and jam? Or how did the whole process of becoming a band happen?
He basically said, I'm looking to get together a cover band. Let's
Okay.
play our favorite reggae songs. You know, we could play some of the new stuff, like more California influenced stuff like Sublime. And so that's what we did. We just got together. We built our own stages, and Isla Vista, which is the college town outside of UCSB, was a great place to get started. We just had a built-in crowd whenever we would play on a Friday night. So we just compiled our favorite reggae songs and just went for it.
Yeah. And what point did you start to write your own songs?
Well, I think we noticed that a lot of people were coming back and to these shows on weekends, and we all looked at each other like, hey, we should write some original music. And at the time I was feeling a little bit more comfortable with performing and writing. I felt like people really identified with our sound, with my vocals. It was all kind of coming together at once. So I think that comfortability was kicking in. We started writing some tunes and recorded an EP and just handed out free CDs and that kind of stuff. And that's when more gigs were coming in around town, and in LA, San Diego, and even up north in Mendocino, which you know very well. I'm sure you've played there many times
Love it.
and know it well. But yeah, that was a great way to just spread the music, was just by giving away free music. And streaming was also happening at the time. It was sort of a new entity. MySpace was a big thing for us. We just put our music online and send people the link, and that was unheard of at the time. It's like, wow, this is incredible. You can showcase your music for free with a single link, you know?
I wonder if you've still got a MySpace page. I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to go. I don't even know if I have one. I don't even know if MySpace exists anymore, but it'd probably be pretty good to go and just see all these abandoned MySpace accounts, you know.
Right.
You know, when I see your music or hear your music, I don't just think of like a genre of music. I think of like a lifestyle, you know, and I see that when I come to your shows. And if you could like sum up in a you know, couple sentences what that lifestyle is to you, what would it be?
Well, I think it all really comes down to the power of live music. And I think a lot of us really realized that in the last few years, with the pandemic and things slowing down. And man, I see it with what you're doing as well. You know, when you're performing with your band and the crowd is there, I mean, you could tell that they really need it. People have a straight up spiritual experience at a live performance. And even when I go to a show that I'm not familiar with, or a certain genre of music I'm not familiar with, even if I don't like it, like I still end up having a great time, you know, like even if you go to a show that you're not super crazy about the band, you still leave like, that was pretty cool. You know, like you have a great live, like going to see live music is unlike anything else. So I think we take pride in our live sound. I think there's a vibe. I think people identify being there with us. And there's only so much you can capture on a record, but when it's being played live and people can see you and you're feeling the energy from the crowd and vice versa, it's something that is truly incredible. I always realized that, but maybe just a little bit more in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like for you the last few years? Going from, you guys are probably doing 100+ shows a year, right?
Maybe not as much as we used to, but probably close to 70 or something.
Okay. You're doing 70 shows a year, and then suddenly, boom, it's all gone. What was that like for you?
Well, yeah, I'm sure you can relate too. It was weird. I think after pushing so hard and touring for a while, we kind of needed a little bit of a break, but just not that long of a break. And we all missed it. I know the crowd missed it, but we did too. There's nothing like getting on stage and really expressing who you are and being able to feel it from a big audience. And, it's this big collection. It's not just singular vibe. It's like everybody together makes it very, very special. And, I can't say that about every art form. Music is its own unique experience that can only be felt, in that live scenario.
Yeah, no question. The name Rebelution, how did you guys come up with the name, and what does it mean to you guys?
Yeah, we felt that the word rebel always had like a negative connotation, and to us, being rebellious through our words and through our music was the right thing to talk about. Our message has always been what I feel is peaceful. We want to encourage people to use their words, because music, like we were talking about, it's a powerful tool, right? It can inspire people in ways unimaginable. It's inspired me. Even when I perform, it makes me a better person after the show, just because I think about how thankful I am just to be in this scene. And so, yeah, to speak through our words and music, we felt like that was a revolution to us and why we liked it.
Nice. I got one last question for you. So I know you got to go to sound check, and I do too. What does it mean to you to stay human, and to, first of all, to be human, and how do you hold on to being human?
That's a great question. I think what makes me feel human is seeing what we're capable of. And I think about how many years it took to get to this point. And when I look at people that have mastered their art form in whatever way it is, the amount of time we put into it it's pretty incredible to see what we're capable of. Everybody has a unique talent. And when you witness it, I feel like that is a very human experience. It shows how incredible we are as humans to be able to master something or just show what we're capable of. I think about that all the time, and I'm in true awe when I see people with that talent or, showcasing something that they've worked so hard on for however long it might be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric, I just want to say thank you for being, I consider you to be, a comrade in the struggle to just be optimistic and putting music out into the world that lifts people up. So many things out there these days that drag us down. We read the news, we go through these funky periods, and especially during the pandemic, it's been a super hard time. And you guys have always been out there just promoting optimism and peace and connection between groups of people, and fun and play and enjoying life and living life to the fullest. So thank you for being out there doing it every day with your band. Say hello to everybody and tell them I love them. And if you have any final words about, or tell people what you guys are up to and coming up next.
Yeah, just, we tour constantly, so you can always find our tour dates. We're not stopping anytime soon, but, I just wanted to say that, Michael, everything you just said is so true about what you do and your scene and your hustle, and you've worked really, really hard, and, people feel a great sense of community with the shows that you play. And so thank you for bringing that vibe to the people. I know people are very thankful for what you do as well.
Awesome. Thanks, bro. On behalf of Pact Clothing, go check them out at wearepact.com. We just want to say thank you, Eric, for being on the show today. And join us next week for the Stay Human podcast. Peace.